Hi everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to my channel. I have another layout share for you guys today. I'm just going to start off this video by apologizing for my voice. I have bronchitis at the time of filming this. I've left this as long as I can really, but it's already the 6th of January and I have other layouts that I need to start filling this tub up with for 2021. So these are all the layouts I made between the 1st of October and the 31st of December, the final quarter of 2020. I have a pretty decent stack in there considering I don't feel like I wasn't that busy. I also do have the air conditioning on behind me, so that tends to come through my camera microphone quite loud, so I apologize if there's a lot of kind of static wind noise. There's not a lot I can do about that. It's the middle of summer here at the moment. So I'm going to open this up and count up my layouts and see how many I made. Okay, so I have 18 here, not including this top one, which was made in October. That's not too bad for the last quarter of the year, I don't think, considering I started work on my December daily prep pages in November. Christmas happened and then I got sick, so I haven't been making anything while I've been sick. And I've been sick for a few weeks now. So let's get started. This one was for Scrapbook cut files. I'll try not to take too long to flip through all these. I used the Happy Halloween cut file. I did some mixed media on the background. It's a multi-photo. This was taken at the Halloween Street Parade in 2018, so me and my kids. I used the Simple Stories Happy Haunting collection to make this. I used lots of little bits and pieces of embellishment. I did some journaling down on a tag here. I did mixed media on the cut file and behind the cut file. Really love this one. It's super Halloween-y. Got lots of photos on there. I'm really happy to have that memory documented finally. Okay, never mind, this shouldn't be in here. I have a memory of already sharing this one, and I have. It was in my last one. I don't know why this is still in the tub. So I only made 17, not 18. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. So anyway, that can go. Never mind. Next we have one for Scrap the Boys. This was a sketch challenge. I'm pretty sure it was for Scrap the Boys. I've used Cocoa Vanilla Studio, what's the name of it? Unforgettable collection, and I used this background paper that had this watercolor circle on it already. I feel like the sketch had a circle on it, which is what kind of inspired me. I've used some of my scrap pieces of paper back here, and I just followed the sketch pretty closely. It had labels, it had circles, so I've used some flair, and I've used some actually quite a lot of enamel dots. I used up a whole the whole rest of the packet that I had open, so that felt good to get that used up. These are fussy cut off the pattern paper with all the script words. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. That's A4 size, so it's right between 8.5 by 11 and 9 by 12. I want to say it's right around 9 by 11 is the closest size, so yeah, it's kind of like an odd size. It's a standard paper size here in Australia, and I can get albums and page protectors for them cheap, which is why I do it, in case you're wondering. Next, for Cocoa Vanilla Studio, this is using the Daydream collection, of course, gorgeous collection, and I knew I wanted to use some of the yellow elements in this collection to scrap a photo from my son's 5th birthday, because he had a construction themed birthday and he wore the yellow high-vis like work clothes, and he had all these little yellow trucks and like the big yellow tonkers and whatnot. So yeah, I've used a bunch of the yellow embellishments, this yellow paper to back the wood grain, which I love using on boy layouts, especially these deeper wood grain tones. This cut file is from Neat and Crafty Cuts. It's actually a traveler's notebook cut file that I blew up to be not quite 12 by 12. Then I backed it with vellum, and that's it. It's just backed with vellum and adhered to the background. And just white and gold splatters, some clusters, and I use sequins instead of enamel dots. I love this one. This next one was for Cobra cut files. I used the Harvest Banner, I want to say it's called. I can't exactly remember. There are a bunch of very similar cut files that were all to do with harvest. We kind of, in the DT group, we kind of fought over who was going to use what, so I ended up snagging this one. So I cut it in black. Of course, I love cutting autumn themed or winter themed cut files in black cardstock. I've used, I want to say this is mostly Simple Stories Cozy Days that I've used to back the cut file, but I think this background paper is from Fancy Pants. Yeah, it's a Fancy Pants paper. It's just a wood grain. I scrapped 2 photos of these prize-winning pumpkins at our local agricultural show. I used a bunch of the embellishments from the collection, and I actually used some washi tape. So this is washi here from the collection, and so is this. That's that's a miracle. I hardly ever use washi. I love that one. So here's another Halloween one. I did quite a few in October actually. I was really pleased with how many I got done. Did quite a few in September as well. But anyway, this is again the same Simple Stories Happy Haunting collection. This was from Mixed Media Frenzy Help, I think. Anyway, it was mixed media themed because I remember doing the mixed media and it not turning out right. So I've done heaps of distressing on this edge. It's very, very distressed. 2 photos of me and my son. They're Snapchat filters. So I like this one because in the filter it actually popped out the eye color. Totally fake. I mean, this is bright blue and bright purple, but then the rest of it's black and white, and then this one was just these skeleton faces. So I wanted to include both. I've used just a bunch of the little embellishments. These enamel dots are not from the collection, they're just from my stash. I've done some journaling on this little tag here. I finally got to use this big Happy Halloween title off the chipboard sheet, which I've been eyeing off, but I haven't been able to get it on the layout until now. So for my mixed media, this is the Color Blast paste in bling. Super cool. As soon as I run out of that, I'm going to buy some more. I use it quite a bit actually. It's really metallic. This was originally Distress Oxide Spun Sugar. I tried that, the mist, painting it on, but it just turned white, and you can see some of these spiders in the background. They're just white, and I really wanted that pastel pink. So I just went over with some acrylic paint. Super easy to do. Really love how that turned out. Okay, this one was my first layout with the Coco Vanilla Studio Merriam Bright collection. I think it was for the wood grain hop. Yeah, it definitely was. So I just cut out the wood grain paper into the planks. It's in planks on the paper, so I just cut along all the lines, distressed all the edges, and then laid them back down exactly where they belonged on top of you can see there, like a red cardstock. So you can just see a very small hint of red peeking through. Gives lots of texture and dimension, which I love. And then I did some texture paste stars, some white, and then some gold glitter. So that's quite a big photo. It's a 4x6 full-size photo. We were at the Christmas parade, and I just love how my son's looking off at the parade from on top of his dad's shoulders there. Love that photo. Okay, this one was for Coco Vanilla Studio. I can't remember what the theme was. I think it was mixing collections actually, and this was kind of challenging because I really wanted to mix the brand new collection with quite an older collection. So I ended up pulling out Happiness, which was a bit of a challenge because it's kind of similar to Daydream in that it's all florals and butterflies and whatnot, but it's totally different colors. It's super bright, punchy, happy colors, and then Daydream is very muted, which I adore, don't get me wrong, but I thought it might be a challenge to mix them together, but it actually was easier than I expected. So I used some of the floral, and then I used this pink, bright pink frame and another bright pink frame die cut from Happiness to sort of bring in some of those brighter colors. I used a title from Happiness, and then I've used these big florals from Happiness. I think these were the last florals I had left on the sticker sheet, so I've used those, and then I have added in, so these florals are all from Daydream, and the butterflies are from Daydream. Some of these little stickers are from Happiness. This is a Daydream flare. So I think I got a good mix of both collections. I've added in some sequins from Daydream as well. So it turned out really well. I'm really pleased with it. This one I love. I just love this one. It's Pebbles the Avenue. I made this one using, this was for Copa cut files using the Burbs cut file. It's these 2 rows of houses and trees, and so, you know, it was made for this collection. So I pulled it out. I thought immediately of these photos I have of my little ones walking. This was on my uni campus, and my daughter hadn't been walking that long. And this day, my son grabbed her hand, and they were just walking along together so happily in the sunshine. Did some mixed media on the bottom of the cut files just to kind of like give it a grounding point. I embellished the heck out of this. Lots of little bits, little birds, little butterflies, little trees. This little squirrel kills me. Lots of tiny little florals and a little car and bicycle. I love it. I just love it. And I love this background, which doesn't hurt. Next, this is for Scrap the Boys for the Christmas Traditions Challenge. This is from the Coco Vanilla Studio Merriam Bright collection. I first cut out the center of the wreath, did a bunch of splatters, and then did sequins all the way around the outside. I popped in this big floral cluster underneath at the top here to kind of mirror this one at the bottom. Cut out these big letters, popped them up on foam, and yeah, I couldn't remember the tradition, but it was actually, we're on our way to morning tea with our very good friends that we catch up with every Christmas, so that was definitely a tradition. So I'll have to add some more journaling on here somewhere at some point. But I actually might go around the edge because it's white, but I'll just have to try and remember to do that before I put it away. This was for Coco Vanilla Studio. no theme, just whatever I wanted. I really wanted to focus on the advent calendar countdown paper, so I cut it all out. And there's a funny story behind this actually. I cut it all out and I did embossing around the odd numbers, and then I did machine stitching around the even numbers, and then popped them all back on this polka dot background. And then I did this big central square with a collage photo, because I thought, oh, 4 photos, that'll look cool with the background, right? But it just didn't. It looked so busy and you couldn't really tell the photos from the numbers, and I just hated it. So I went on one of my Scrappy group chats and asked them for help. And Virginia actually said she'd made a similar layout, but she just did photos on top of the squares. And I thought, oh, actually that's a really good idea, I'll steal that. So I cut this one, I reprinted this one down a bit smaller. So I had that bigger wood grain border that really separates it from the rest of the layout. And then the other 3 photos I just popped on top of random boxes down here. So they're still on the page, but this is definitely the main focus. And then I just did a couple of embellishment clusters and some enamel dots, Nero drops. So I'm really pleased with how that turned out. This is an advent calendar I made a few years ago, and I am still super proud of it. It's still pride of place every year at Christmas time. So that's that one. I'm starting to struggle now, guys. I'll try and make it through. Oh, I missed one. This is number 18. So there you go. I did make 18. This was for, it was Honey, I Shrunk the Layout was the theme. So we all did shrunken down layouts. And I thought that was a perfect opportunity for me to scrap some photos of my husband's baby album or childhood album that I'm working on. So it's 8x8. So I just used the Avenue again. I cut down one of the papers to 8x8. I did some ink through a stencil in the background and some splatters. It's very simple because it's little. I just used one of the smaller titles, and then mostly stickers, I think these are, from the sticker book, because they're nice and small. And then I used a few of these dimensional gold leaves. Really happy with how that turned out. Super cute. This was for Mixed Media Frenzy because I have another funny story. I have lots of funny stories this month apparently. But basically what I did for this is I pulled out my Hip Kit Club Autumn kit, homemade kit, and I scrapped my photo and did my embellishment clusters, and I was really happy with it. And I went to put it away. I went to take photos and I looked at it and I went, there is not a scrap of mixed media on here. Not a spot. It was for a mixed media hop. What the heck? So yeah, then I went back in and added some mixed media, and it actually turned out really good, so I'm happy. But the theme was things we're thankful for. I always mess up the titles. It was thankful for and I put grateful. Close enough, right? It's the same thing. So I just did, these are actually journal cards, so that was me trying to use up some of those. I'm really pleased with how that turned out. 2 photos of my little ones just hanging out on the couch. It's 2 separate days. They're wearing different clothes, but they're just hanging out on the couch together. This one, they're actually cuddling my son's arms around my daughter. Really sweet. I just love those 2. They get on so well and they're such good friends. It makes me really happy. So I've just done like 3 clusters in that diagonal pattern. I've done for my mixed media, I did some iridescent paste. It's like an iridescent medium through a stencil, my spotty stencil. That is my favorite, and it's super, you can see how shiny it is, metallic. It's super, super shiny. I also did some, you can see here, I can't remember whether this is watercolor or I have a feeling it might be Distress Oxide. And then splatters, some Nuvo drops as well, some stamping, so there's little leaves of stamps. So I ended up getting quite a bit of mixed media on there. And then I just stamped the date here. And that's that, really pleased with that. Okay, this was for Copa Cup Files, Christmas, using, it's an old Christmas kit I have with mostly Kaiser Craft and Reject Shop bits and pieces just chucked in, color coordinating. But this is a cut file, the bow. It's called Put a Bow on It, and it's either, there's 2 of them, so it's either Put a Bow on It 1, I think it might be number 2. So if you're looking for it, you can't quite find the right one, that's why. So I've just backed it with coordinating pattern, like check patterns. Kind of wanted it to look like, you know, like a double-sided ribbon. I'm really pleased with that. And then I just did a washi tape gold glitter ribbon on my present. Use this little present. I love this layout. I was really pleased with it. It's really simple. I just popped a border on, and then this is just white cardstock with some gold splatters, nothing crazy in the background. Just a couple of cute little embellishment clusters. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how that turned out. I love the cute little animals down here and the little plum pudding. Makes me really happy. So there's that one. Next we have my little ones. Another one using the Marianne Bright collection. I use the heck out of it, guys. I love it so much. I still want to keep using it. I used the large die cut backing kit. I just took the die cut off of it and then backed it. And I saved the the rest of it for another layout, which I'll flip to next. But I actually popped the whole thing up on foam before I backed it, so there's like a layer between the cut file and the backing paper. It gives lots of cool extra dimension, you can see there. Added in 3 of the die cut trees, then my little sweeties. This is my title here, and then just decorated the tree with a bunch of the little fussy cut florals and a puffy star, of course. And the background is just the pink polka dot from the collection, and I've just added some splatters of white Liquitex acrylic ink and some, this mint is one of my pearlescent watercolors that I just have from Spotlight. Just really pretty. It's actually quite shiny in person. You probably can't see it on camera, but I really love how that turned out. It's nice and simple, but I love this color scheme with the greens and the pinks together. It's so pretty. Actually, a photo, I think I've scrapped these photos before. I have a bunch of photos from this photo shoot, but this one is for my daughter's baby album. The other ones will go into the family album, which is a lot of the reason why I use the pink background. It's just very soft and sweet and pretty, perfect for her baby album. Okay, I'll just leave that one for now because I just want to show you what I did with the rest of that backing kit. So this comes with this background paper and the geometric tree, and then the die cut on top of the tree. So I just pulled this apart. I pulled it off this one and used it on a separate layout. I always love to get as much bang for my buck out of these items as I possibly can. For this one, I just went through and hand stitched around the outside of the tree, and that white border is visible underneath, so I literally just followed that with my paper piercer. It was really easy to do. I did a chain stitch in like a dark green color to really make that stitching stand out off the white background. This soft watercolor wash is already on the paper when you get it, so I just continued on with that theme and did some watercolor trees here. So these are just with a plain, not fancy watercolor in a few different shades of green. Really simple to do. I also watercolored this little hill. Otherwise the tree would have just stopped here. It would have just kind of been floating, so I just added the little hill. Documented a photo of one of the lit up trees in my neighborhood. But I didn't do anything else to the background. It's already got these spots and this hand-drawn border, so that was really easy for me. I just added a few more embellishments here around my photo, and then a bunch of journaling here. Love that one. This was for Gwen Ruck's Using Up Your Stash Christmas haul that she did. So I pulled out the Wonderland collection by Kaiser Craft. I've got quite a few things from that collection, but I haven't used it hardly at all. So I pulled that out. I went straight for this dark navy background paper. I saw this as my opportunity to use up some of those wintry items because Christmas is the middle of summer here, so I don't get to use them very much. So I printed my photo in black and white so you can't tell that it's hot. So I've just gone through, used up some of these border strips, which I kind of struggle using to make it this like kind of cross, off-center cross pattern, and I've added some texture paste in to supplement or enhance that effect. Just done some plain white acrylic ink splatters in the background. They really pop on the dark background. And then just added a bunch of the snowflakes and stars off the sticker sheet and off the die cut pack, out of the die cut pack. And a bunch of the trees as well, the pine trees. So I just scattered those around. So this came together so quickly, and I really love how it looks. This was for Confessions of a Paper Addict again. This was the Sweet Wreath, I'm pretty sure. So I've just cut it on white. I cut it pretty much 12 by 12. And I've used the Cocoa Vanilla Studio Marion Bright again. I backed the cut file and then I chopped it not quite in half, like 2/3, 1/3, and sort of offset it so it's coming off the sides of, which is a nice way to use a wreath a little bit differently. I've used the star background paper. Just didn't want to use plain white again. Just felt a little bit boring. It's mostly white, but it has that pattern. But I did go over underneath where the cut file is. I did gesso first, and then I went over with some pearly watercolors. So those pearlescent watercolors, you can see how shiny they come up. In real life, they're even prettier. So I did that, and then I did some gold splatters around the place. And then I went through and did enamel dots sort of all the way around each of the wreaths. Got a flare on there and a few little stickers, but apart from that, I barely embellished. A lot, like I said, a lot going on in the background. I've got the cut file. Didn't really feel the need to embellish too much. A title curving around the edge of the wreath at the top here, and some little gold foam alphas. My journaling tucked in inside here. Really pleased with that one. This is one of my favorites. I loved it. This one was for Audrey Yeager's holiday scrapping series, which I was honored to be invited to join. I did end up having to swap with someone on one of the days because our internet completely dropped out for like 2 or 3 days, so I couldn't get on and get my video up. But so anyway, I pulled out the Mint Wishes by Kaiser Craft because it's one of my favorite collections, but I don't have much of it left. So I really struggled to use it, so I thought it would be a nice opportunity to try and make myself use some of it and stop hoarding. So I've just done a grid layout. It's really simple. I just did some squares of pattern paper, I did some machine stitching on some of them, and then I kind of just decorated each of them like they were a little mini layout. So I added my photo here with some puffies and some Nuvo drops. I mean, either of these squares could be my title square, but I think I went with this one for my video title. This one I just did these floral stickers, and then so these are some more of the stickers. I pretty much just have a few of the papers and the sticker sheet left. So these puffy stars are Rosie Studio. This was a die from Kaiser Craft that you can go watch the process video to see what I did with this, but it wasn't worth the effort. Honestly, I could have just cut the die on the dark green and been done with it, which is probably what I should have done. But anyway, it turned out in the end. So I've just added a border strip here for another bit of craft. Lots of Nuvo drops on this one. And then over here I popped in this little craft envelope. I love these, they're so pretty. I don't know why, they're just plain craft, but I really like them. Some more of those border strips to get them used up. This is fussy cut for one of the pattern papers floral. Yeah, I really love the color palette of this, and I love how it turned out. And finally we have this layout for Cocoa Vanilla, which just went up at the time of filming this. It just went up. So this is using the Daydream collection again. I just used up some of my scraps, so all these papers in the background were just kind of larger scraps that I had sitting in the top of my box. So I just pulled them all out and sort of chopped them up to the right size and laid them all up. The theme for this was new, so just new beginnings, new starts, new haircuts, new whatever. So I decided to go with the new hairdo. This is my daughter's first haircut ever. I cut her a little fringe, a little baby fringe. Yeah, super sweet. So I just did those papers, and then I've just done a very soft pink in the background, mixed media, some little clusters, and then my large title down here. Yeah, really simple. It seems to be my jam at the moment to do 2 smaller photos on every layout. Most of my layouts seem to have a couple of photos on them these days. So yeah, that's the last one. I'm really happy with that. Okay, hopefully this video wasn't too long. That is all my layouts. I hope you enjoyed watching. Like I said, I am really happy with all these layouts that I have made. Let me know in the comments, as per usual. I love to hear which one is your favorite, which one's my favorite. Oh god, that's a question. These are my 3 favorite from the lot. Yeah, Cocoa Vanilla. Can you sense the theme? But I love these Christmas ones. Yeah, and yeah, what can I say? So that's all of them. Like I said, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare to edit. Ah. I use these simple... Hey, help. I've only just started. Oh man. This was actually off the cut apart sheet, and I fussy cut. Hold on. Yeah, it's just super pretty. I did some mixed media here. Oh man. Yeah, baby. Why can't you open it?
Look.
Yeah, hold on one second. Show me.
Look.
Yeah.
I played it.
Wow.
The video.
What kind of thing? Hey, I'm making a video.
I'm making a video.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed.
You're making a video.
Yeah, do you want to say hello?
Hello.
Wait, say hello. Hello. That's me. Yeah. That's you.
Right.
That's you. Who's that?
Colin.
Who's that?
Violet.
Yeah. My cup of tea. Oh, okay. Okay, almost there.